All right, some of you are going to be mad at me for covering this story, but I would be a partisan hypocrite if I didn't cover this story, except the other half of you are going to be mad at me for covering this story the way that I'm going to cover it. There is a video floating around in which the story goes, Joe Biden appears very, very visibly confused at a speech last week, where after speaking, he turned and he tried to shake hands with thin air and then looked so confused on the stage and didn't know where to go. And he has dementia and he has Alzheimer's and it's worse than Trump and all of this different stuff. And I'll tell you, when over the weekend, the clip was sent to me and I looked at it on my small phone screen very quickly, it looked very bad. Joe Biden looked confused. It looked like he was shaking hands with the air, thinking there was someone standing next to him and there was no one there. And I was getting ready to come to you and say, guys, I mean, listen, we have a dozen examples of Trump with this type of stuff. I've got to tell you that we have one with Joe Biden. Except then I actually looked at the video that was not cropped into a sort of vertical video where you actually see the sides of what's going on. And it actually is fine. Joe Biden is very clearly speaking to people on different sides of him and signaling to them with his hand. Yes, it looks weird. He's sticking it out almost like a handshake, but he points to the people to the right and he turns around and he points to people that were over his left shoulder and over his right shoulder. And that's just kind of it. I mean, we're going to look at it. And once I saw the full video, it really just kind of seems like no big deal. So I'm going to play it for you. And I know that if you're only listening, you're not really going to get the full picture of this. But let's take a look at it and then I'll explain it and we'll go from there.
Thing America can't do when we do it together as the United States of America. God bless you all.
So, I mean, listen, I was ready to say something's wrong with Joe Biden. We got to evaluate Joe Biden. But when you actually look at what he's doing, he's engaging with each wing of the crowd and he's saying something. I don't know if it's like, how was it? Or thanks for being here. But he's very clearly turning to the people on his right and he says something and then he turns and faces back and he does the exact same thing. You see his arm do the exact. So I don't want to belabor this, but it's not what it initially appeared to be. That's just kind of it. And I would tell you guys when Trump looked confused and lost, right? When Trump got off of his plane and his car's right in front of him, and he seems to wander off and literally a Secret Service agent comes over and takes him by the arm and turns him around and walks him back towards his car. He seemed very confused and there was no real simple explanation for that. When Donald Trump said he wanted to know the oranges of an investigation and he kind of like glitches and he knows that what's coming out of his mouth doesn't make sense. He wants to say origins and he's saying oranges and he tries again and it doesn't. That was really weird. There's been no real explanation for that. Not even a simple one. When Rudy Giuliani was sitting right across from Trump at a table and Trump says, "Where is Rudy?" And he's looking around and Rudy's as close as, not as close as my microphone, but right across the table. There was no explanation for that. And I told you that. And when Joe Biden has completely lost his train of thought, I've told you that really doesn't look good. That's not his stutter. Joe Biden has had a lifelong stutter. When he completely loses his train of thought and says, well, okay, let me move on because they don't want me talking about this. It just seems like he's losing his train of thought. And I've told you guys, this video is not what many are making it out to be. I don't even know what else to say. Does Biden sometimes sound confused? Yeah, he does. And I don't like when it happens. It makes me uncomfortable. Does Joe Biden sometimes lose his train of thought? Yeah, absolutely. But this video as the smoking gun dementia video, I just don't see it, guys. If you disagree with me, I want you to let me know. One of our sponsors is Athletic Greens, which makes comprehensive daily nutrition really simple. People are busy. We're not always getting effective, balanced nutrition from the food we eat. We sometimes are combining all sorts of different vitamins, supplements, different things that may be relevant to us. AG1 by Athletic Greens is a delicious drink that just simplifies the entire thing. It's one product. You get all of the things you need, 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. It's a multivitamin, it's a multi-mineral, it's a probiotic, green food blend in one daily serving. Really easy, high quality, bioavailable ingredients can fill those nutritional gaps in your diet, and they can help with gut health and digestion and support you in other ways. And they can replace multiple products and pills that you might be taking. It's just one drink, really simple. I've been enjoying the AG1 drink by Athletic Greens. Tastes good, helps me get everything I'm trying to get. Athletic Greens is giving my audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase when you go to athleticgreens.com/Pacman. The link is in the podcast notes.